This is Eyewitness News on KDOC TV with live breaking news.
Breaking news, burglary suspects lead to CHP on a dangerous pursuit, the driver blowing through intersections. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Donut. This is Eyewitness News on KDOC TV, and let's get right to Bill Thomas in Air 7 HD with the wild images and how it all came to an end. Bill.
David, like the Indy 500 in the streets of South LA, let's push in, take a look. These are LAPD officers working side by side with CHP officers. That pursuit did come to an end. This is going to be on 64th and Vermont in South LA. We have two suspects in custody, and there may be a third suspect in the area. Open up just a little bit here. You see a big crowd forming, and now LAPD officers are calling in crowd control just in case there's a problem. So far, haven't noticed a problem, but the crowds are getting a little bit larger. Let's go to the tape we shot from Air 7 HD. The word from the California Highway Patrol. They tell us they were chasing 2 and maybe 3 burglary suspects. This began in City of Industry in the San Gabriel Valley. 2 people were in the car. There may have been a third suspect as well. A number of near misses along the course of that pursuit out of the San Gabriel Valley into downtown LA. At one point, the suspect narrowly missing a CHP cruiser. They couldn't get in to do those pit maneuvers just yet, but he's going between cars. At one point, he had to push a car out of his way to get through these very narrow surface streets. You can see him going the wrong way on surface streets. And here you see 2 and maybe 3 suspects jumping out of that red sedan, running through the neighborhood. 2 of the suspects were taken in custody. One went one way, one went the other, but they were quickly found by LAPD officers. They put up a bit of a fight, but they were taken into custody. There may still be a third suspect in the area. Back to our live shot once again. This area is teeming with CHP officers. In the middle of your screen, on the sidewalk, you see LAPD Newton Division officers, that large crowd on the street as well. But once again, fortunately, the chase has come to an end. Look at this massive police presence in South LA, 64th and Vermont, 2 in custody. And again, there may be a third suspect in the area. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Bill, thank you. And another pursuit. 3 suspects are in custody after a high-speed chase in the San Gabriel Valley. It started in West Covina as police pursued a grand theft auto suspect. The car drove fast on city streets, sometimes narrowly missing other vehicles. At one point, the suspect drove in front of a truck and onto a sidewalk. Eventually, the suspect stopped on Azusa Avenue and 3 people jumped out and took off on foot. The driver was arrested quickly, followed by the second suspect. A short time later, a police dog found the third suspect hiding in a backyard shed, and police arrested him.
An investigation is underway tonight into a mechanical issue that forced a Hawaiian Airlines flight to return to LAX for an emergency landing shortly after takeoff. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson spoke to some very frightened passengers.
Hawaiian Airlines flight HA3 makes an emergency landing at LAX. The airline says when the pilot noticed an indicator light in the cockpit, he elected to return to Los Angeles as a precaution.
So for us, it was just get us off the plane.
Kara Morrison and Naia Keapua were both on the plane. They say the flight was initially delayed this morning due to a fuel leak. This video from Air 7 HD shows crews placing sand where fuel had spilled.
It was leaking massively. There was like a waterfall worth of water or of fuel on the ground.
After a 2-hour delay due to that fuel leak, the plane finally takes off for Honolulu, but then turns back around near the Channel Islands when that indicator light comes on. The airline offers passengers that were initially supposed to take off at 10 a.m. a chance to fly again at 4 p.m.
A lot of us said we'd rather just go tomorrow and not have to worry about it.
You win some, you lose some.
That's a very laid-back Hawaiian attitude.
It is. It is. A lot of the Hawaiians on this flight are not having that attitude. Let me tell you that. They're very upset. It's messing with a lot of people's schedules.
Hawaiian Airlines says its initial investigation reveals that the 2 problems, the fuel leak and the mechanical problem, were not related and that the plane was not leaking fuel midair. Reporting from LAX, Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
An investigation is underway after neighbors find a body burning on the sidewalk in South LA. Police say they were called to the area of 57th Street and Fortuna Street around 3:30 this morning. Nearby residents doused the body with water to help put out the flames. One neighbor believes the body was dumped there and set on fire. Homicide detectives used specially trained dogs to determine if there was an accelerant on the man's clothing. The victim has not been identified.
Law enforcement in the Waco, Texas area are on high alert tonight following yesterday's biker gang bloodbath. A shootout at a popular restaurant killed at least 9 people. 18 Waco officers and additional state troopers were outside the restaurant when the fight turned into a deadly brawl.
At least 170 biker gang members are under arrest in Waco, Texas after that brawl that left 9 bikers dead and a community shaken.
We had wounded inside, we had people stabbed, we had people shot, and we had people beat.
It was really, really scary. We didn't know somebody was going to come back. It was scary.
Police say for the last 2 months they have had trouble with the biker gangs at Twin Peaks restaurant, but the local management, they say, ignored their warnings.
They have some answering not only to do to y'all, but to our community as well.
Now the corporate office says it's revoking the franchise from the owners of the Waco restaurant in the wake of what is now a capital murder case.
This is a criminal element that came in here yesterday and killed people. They didn't come here to eat and have a good time with their family. They came here for a reason. We think part of that reason was a criminal activity.
It all happened shortly after noon yesterday. An argument in the bathroom spilled out into the parking lot, where rival gangs began fighting with chains, clubs, knives, and guns. Just a few feet away, innocent families and shoppers were cleared away as off-duty officers ran in to help control the bloody chaos.
Bail has been set at $1 million each for each of the suspects, with many being charged with engaging in organized crime. Police say all 9 killed were from Texas and acknowledged firing on armed bikers. It's unclear right now how many of the dead were shot by gang members or by officers.
President Obama is putting an end to the federal transfer of some military equipment to local law enforcement, including grenade launchers, tracked armored vehicles, and weaponized aircraft. The president made the announcement while visiting with police and community members in Camden, New Jersey. The so-called militarization of local police departments has been debated and in many cases condemned since last summer when police confronted protesters in Ferguson, Missouri with military-style equipment.
We've seen how militarized gear can sometimes give people a feeling like there's an occupying force as opposed to a force that's part of the community that's protecting them and serving them.
Law enforcement agencies that wish to do so will still be able to buy such equipment from private sellers, but starting in October, departments will have to get approval from local elected officials first.
ISIS is claiming victory, seizing the Iraqi stronghold city of Ramadi, just 60 miles west of Baghdad. Tonight, even the White House is conceding that this is a setback. We get details from ABC's Terry Moran.
Today, a jihadi parade. ISIS celebrating one of its biggest victories yet, its conquering of the city of Ramadi. ISIS releasing a gloating new video showing their victorious fighters strolling the deserted streets, past a destroyed Humvee and through an empty hospital, hoisting their black flag. The city is theirs. This weekend, Iraqi troops, truckload after truckload of them, fleeing the ISIS advance. The fall of Ramadi is another major defeat for Iraq's shaky army and for the United States. The capital of Iraq's largest province, the scene of major fighting after the 2003 U.S.-led invasion. Hundreds of American troops gave their lives to keep this city out of the hands of extremists. Today in Washington, administration officials acknowledged this as a setback, but said the U.S. will help Iraq take Ramadi back. But the administration has been painting far too rosy a picture of how this war is going for far too long.
And again, that was ABC's Terry Moran in Iraq.
An appeals court says YouTube should not have been forced to take down that anti-Muslim movie that sparked violent protests in the Middle East. The film, Innocence of Muslims, was removed from YouTube after an actress said that she received death threats for appearing in it. She claimed she had a copyright to the low-budget film because the director, Nakula of Cerritos, deceived her about its contents, and she thought she was acting in a different movie altogether. YouTube argued the actress had no claim to the film because Nakula, seen here in courtroom sketches, wrote the dialogue, managed the production, and dubbed over her lines. And the film sparked rioting by those who considered it blasphemous to the Prophet Muhammad, and the White House even initially blamed it for inciting the 2012 attack on Benghazi. However, that turned out to be untrue. Extremists had actually planned that attack before the film was ever released.
On the East Coast, Amtrak trains started rolling again early this morning between Philadelphia and New York. It's the first time since last week's deadly derailment that killed 8 people and injured more than 200 others. Both of the first south and northbound trains arrived safely, but about 30 minutes behind schedule. Funerals for 2 of those killed were held today in Queens and New Jersey. Meantime, one of the conductors aboard the train derailed has sued Amtrak, accusing negligence and carelessness. 4 other passengers have also sued. Here at home, the southbound 5 freeway transition to the eastbound 60 is back open after a big rig carrying glass overturned, spilling glass all across the 3 lanes. The driver was not seriously injured. Lanes were shut down for 5 hours. Traffic was backed up for miles during the morning commute.
The deadline to clear the brush around your home has come and gone. Since the beginning of May, the Los Angeles Fire Department has been inspecting high-risk fire areas, making sure the brush is cleared 200 feet around the property. Homeowners have until the end of the month to comply. If not, they could risk some big fines. The administrative and inspection costs alone could run well over $1,000.
Well, yeah, it's certainly dry out there right now, but we've been kind of lucky this month of May. It's been very gray and almost a little gloomy.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Colleen, welcome back, by the way, Colleen.
Thank you.
Folks, you're welcome. Good to have you back. Live Nugget Alpha 7000 HD. Let's check it out. We are dry. If all that rain that we've had recently did enough to dent that drought, that might not be the case, a story we were just hearing regarding brush. Unfortunately, the rain we've had is just a minimal amount of what we need, relative to what we need. But we might actually have more showers in the forecast. We'll get to it later. Angeles National Forest time-lapse. Some clouds out today. 64 right now and a few clouds in downtown. Calm winds. This evening, cool. Temperatures aren't going to be warming up too much tomorrow. In fact, we're going to be between systems, and I'll tell you, the next one could bring more showers. Details ahead on the likelihood of that happening in the 7-day forecast.
All right, looking forward to hearing that, Jonathan. Thank you. Well, up next, he lived on the edge and knew the risk that went with it. Tonight, we're learning new details about the Yosemite base jump that killed extreme athlete Dean Potter.
Plus, a search for answers after a deadly military plane crash in Hawaii.
And a closer look at so-called free-range parenting. Hear from a dad who says his young kids sometimes need less and not more supervision.
Extreme athlete Dean Potter and his climbing partner have died in a base jumping accident in Yosemite. This is video of Potter from the trailer of a movie he did about base jumping with his dog. Potter and Graham Hunt died Saturday night after attempting a wingsuit flight. Potter's dog was not involved in this jump. The men had jumped from 7,500-foot ledge called Taft Point. A search and rescue team found them yesterday morning. No parachutes had been deployed. Base jumping is legal or illegal in Yosemite, and Potter was 43 and Hunt was 29.
Tonight we're learning more about a deadly military aircraft crash in Hawaii. The Osprey went down during a routine training mission. The tragedy raising new questions tonight about the safety of an aircraft nicknamed the Widowmaker. We get more from ABC's Clayton Sandell.
It was supposed to be a routine training flight, but as this Marine MV-22 Osprey kicks up a dust cloud yesterday in Hawaii, it suddenly makes a hard landing, erupting in flames.
Dude, look how black that smoke is now.
22 Marines based at Camp Pendleton in California were on board. One was killed. 21 were taken to hospitals. One is still in critical condition.
It's tragic, and our condolences go to the families and to the loved ones of the victim.
The Osprey is an aviation hybrid, part helicopter for takeoff and landing, transforming into an airplane for high-speed cruising. It's a complicated machine with a troubled history. During early test flights, a series of Osprey crashes killed 30 people, earning it a nickname, the Widowmaker.
The Osprey is not as good as most helicopters could conduct a mission, and it's not as good as most airplanes would be able to conduct a mission.
Today, the Marines told us the modern Osprey is reliable and safe and has proven itself remarkably in combat since 2007. For now, the military says there will be no change to Osprey flights while they investigate why this one went down. Clayton Sandell, ABC News, Denver.
At least 52 people were killed after heavy rains triggered flash floods and a mudslide in Colombia. Dozens of others were injured, and an unknown number of people are unaccounted for after the early morning disaster in Salgar. Rescuers evacuated residents near a ravine for fear of another mudslide. Colombia's president has vowed to rebuild the homes that were lost and provide shelter and assistance for the nearly 500 people affected by flooding and mudslides. And all's quiet at Washington State's Mount St. Helens today, but it was on this date 35 years ago that the volcano erupted, ultimately killing 57 people. The blast knocked more than 1,300 feet off the top of this mountain and sent volcanic ash raining down for miles around. 35 years later, Mount St. Helens has become an important open-air laboratory for the study of volcanoes and their effects on ecosystems, as well as a major recreational and tourist destination.
Wow, 35 years.
Yeah.
Making me feel kind of old. I kind of remember that time.
It's gone quickly, but that was such a huge story in the 80s.
No kidding.
And just the power that we got to realize Mother Nature has, and we don't see it that often to that extent, and it's just amazing to see those images 35 years ago.
I think it's kind of amazing to feel winter in May.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing you're back.
I feel like I've been gone forever.
Great to have you back.
My little baby just turned 3 months yesterday. You met him.
Why didn't you bring him on?
Hang
out with us.
He's so sweet and easy. I would. No.
You
could hold him, though. You'd get a lot of people watching.
Oh, he's a cutie pie. And he's so well behaved.
He is. He's a sweet one.
He can do the weather. Trust me. Outside today, just nice. It was cool. If you've been enjoying the temperatures in the coolish category, you've got more of it ahead. It's the rain that we've been having as of late that is a nice, refreshing, it's a bit of a surprise because this time of year, it's sort of a flip-flop for the winter. OC time-lapse showing partly cloudy skies for a lot of us today. Live Megadoppler 7000 HD, some showers and storms off around Vegas. For us, we are dry up to the north. In the High Sierra, a couple of light showers happening right now. This is an exiting system. For tomorrow and Wednesday, we'll be between systems. The next one's going to show up for Thursday, Friday. I'll show you that in a second. 63 Malibu and some light winds. It'll be a nice, cool night again tonight with jacket weather ahead. Big Bear camera, check that out. That's nice. Behind that banner there, seeing those clouds. Low cloud cover, 41. It might be mild for Big Bear. 64 in Burbank. It's consistent and persistent in terms of the temperature pattern here. Cloud cover pattern as well through the forecast. What we're going to have is a system move in later on Thursday. Some of these temperatures will actually drop in that time frame, and the rain chances will go up. Not significantly, but let me show you here on the satellite imagery. This system, at least, is going to be exiting here, moving to the northeast. Between it, and I'll show you this right here in that future scan forecast, is a couple of days of just cool, dry, but partly to mostly cloudy weather. So you see right here, this is going into Tuesday and Wednesday. All that energy is lifting out. We're between systems Wednesday. And then there you go off to the west of us. Thursday, a system spinning on in. That energy is over us for Friday. That means a chance of rain on Friday. How significant? Unfortunately, not terribly significant, about 20%. It looks like the bulk of the rain would stay to the southern counties and south as of now. So we'll go with about a 20% risk for everybody here in Southern California. Tomorrow, 71 Los Angeles for a high, 70 in Santa Clarita. You're looking at your high temperatures here in Ontario. 72 tomorrow, same in San Bernardino, and the 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County powered up by AccuWeather. Clouds, cool for 2 days, okay? Thursday, even cooler, still clouds, and then Friday we get that chance of rain. The weekend looks great. That's funny because we've had systems roll in, and then the weekends have timed out overall really nice. So that's good if you have weekend plans. It's nice timing. Valleys, IE, lower 70s for a couple days before you cool it off for Thursday, Friday with that system. You're near 80 by Sunday. Chance of rain on Friday. Chance of rain there in the beach forecast for Friday. 63 for high only. And then the mountains has a chance of rain as well. Temperatures dropping into the upper 40s for Friday. High desert. Coolish Thursday, Friday, 66, and a chance of rain is only about 10% for you guys. Weekend's looking good, too. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
It's a style of parenting known as free range, and it's stirring up debate, making headlines recently after one couple left their young kids walk home from a nearby park unsupervised. But there is also support for this hands-off approach to raising kids. ABC's Karen Travers takes a look at the debate.
Danielle and Alexander Maytive of Maryland sparked a national debate on parenting. The so-called free-range parents investigated their crime, letting their 10- and 6-year-old children walk a mile home from a park without adult supervision. The Maytives practice what's known as free-range parenting. They give their children what they say is space to play, discover, and roam.
They believe that this is the right way to raise their children.
At this playground in Silver Spring, Maryland, parents came out with their young children to show support for the Maytives.
You know, parents have the best sense of what their children are ready to do or not ready to do.
The parents we spoke to say they're not doing anything radical by letting their kids play outside unsupervised or roam free in their neighborhoods. They say they did it when they were kids, and it's just part of growing up.
Russell Mack Simon organized the playground event. He thinks a big problem is that kids today are hardly ever by themselves.
They're almost always in some parentally supervised activity, whether it's school or aftercare.
Critics of the free-range movement say what these parents are advocating is flat-out irresponsible.
A 10-year-old should never be in charge of a 6-year-old.
Worrying about your children is part of being a parent, but experts say the data shows it's a very safe time to be a child.
The free rangers are right. Crime is down, and serious stranger abductions are relatively rare.
Author Jennifer Senior says we're living in an age of irrational parenting.
I think we assign a much higher value to our kids right now because we're having them later and we're having fewer of them.
Parents say that ultimately they should be the ones to decide how to raise their children, and whether that's letting them run free or keeping them close to home. It's a family matter. Karen Travers, ABC News, Silver Spring, Maryland.
I don't know. I feel like a helicopter mom, and I'm like hovering around.
I'm with you. I will not let my little one outside of 5 feet from me.
And then I get irritated if my husband looks at his phone while they're it's like, put your phone down. So I don't know. I'm sure he would like more free range, I'm sure.
Tough one. Okay, up next, the new link between smartphone use and test scores.
Plus, a mom who is also a school teacher finds her personal information on an escort site after getting some strange phone calls.
And is a new El Nino taking shape? Tonight, some encouraging information about what we could see this winter and why forecasters like their odds a little more this time around.
Banning cell phones from school classrooms could lead to better test scores. That's the findings of a new London-based study. It found schools that banned the use of smartphones saw average test scores improve by 6% over schools that allowed students to carry phones. The scores of underachieving students saw an even bigger boost. Their scores jumped an average of 14%. Researchers say the findings suggest some students may be distracted by their phone.
Oh, you think? A Sacramento teacher and mother of two was shocked after she discovered her phone number on an escort website. For weeks, men have been texting and calling Yvonne Edwards asking for services. Finally, she asked one of the men where he had found her number. He told her it was posted on myscarletbook.com, a website that allows escorts to post their ads. Yvonne says she found her number on the site along with a photo of a woman she has never seen before.
My husband and I did laugh about it. We were laughing and we thought it was funny and like, okay, whatever, no harm, no foul. And I mean, it's just nothing, you know, but now the harm started coming though when the company wasn't remedying it, when my children started encountering the texts, when I'm getting phone calls all hours of the night.
Vaughn says she contacted the company several times asking for the ad to be removed, but they have not yet responded.
We are updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
Including a medical student about to leave for humanitarian work in Africa as is struck and killed. One of the two victims killed by a wrong-way driver suspected of DUI.
And nearly 1 year since the Isla Vista massacre, we're hearing from victims' families about their mission to keep kids safe.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on KDOC TV.
Our top story at 7:30, burglary suspects lead the CHP on a dangerous pursuit starting in the City of Industry and weaving all the way through traffic, all the way to the South LA area. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Ona. This is Eyewitness News on KDOC TV, LA's only live local newscast at 7:30 p.m. 3 suspects who may be wanted for a residential burglary led police on this wild chase, nearly missing several vehicles along the way. The suspects hit a car in the middle of the street, kept driving, and eventually fled on foot, jumping onto rooftops in South LA. Officers eventually caught up to the 3 suspects and took them into custody.
And 3 suspects are in custody after another high-speed chase, this one in the San Gabriel Valley. It started in West Covina as police pursued a grand theft auto suspect. The car drove fast on city streets, sometimes narrowly missing other vehicles. At one point, the suspect drove in front of a truck and onto a sidewalk. Eventually, the suspect stopped on Azusa Avenue, and 3 people jumped out and took off on foot. The driver was arrested quickly, followed by the second suspect. A short time later, a police dog found the 3rd suspect hiding in a backyard shed, and police arrested him.
Absolutely tragic story here. A community in mourning after a UC San Diego medical student is killed by a wrong-way driver suspected of DUI. Eyewitness News Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere reports from Rancho Santa Margarita, where Madison Cornwell is being remembered tonight.
I was so blessed to have her in my life.
Those who knew Madison Cornwell say she stood out even as a freshman at Santa Margarita Catholic High School. Not just beautiful, but intelligent and a good athlete.
I think of someone who was just so giving, and she had so much potential.
The 23-year-old in her 2nd year of medical school at UC San Diego. Her father says she was about to leave for Malawi to work on a nutrition project for underprivileged people. She was out with friends, all fellow medical students, a last chance to say goodbye before her trip. She offered to be the designated driver. What happened next, completely out of her control.
It's a horrible crime and just a tragedy that life was lost to a drunk driver, and then to find out, hours later that it was Madison and another one of her medical school colleagues. It was devastating.
Just after 1:30 in the morning Saturday, a Ford F-350 slammed head-on into Cornwell's Toyota Prius. Authorities say the 21-year-old driver, identified as Jason King, suspected of driving drunk, heading the wrong way on State Route 163 in San Diego. Cornwell was killed, along with 24-year-old Ann Baldock. 3 other men in the car suffered injuries. At Cornwell High School, where her sister is a senior, a memorial sits inside the chapel, a chance for students and staff to remember her.
It's difficult. It's, just keep her in our hearts and know that, we were part of her life and she was part of ours.
Now, Madison's father says a memorial is planned for his daughter this Wednesday at UC San Diego. As for the suspect, according to the CHP, he is an active-duty Marine stationed at Miramar. He did suffer major injuries in the crash and remains in the hospital, where he is expected to be arraigned later this week on a variety of charges, including felony DUI and vehicular manslaughter. In Rancho Santa Margarita, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A brazen break-in is caught on surveillance video at a medical marijuana dispensary in Inglewood. You can see 2 men, one of whom kicks in a door. They both rush in, start grabbing what they can. Police say more than $1,000 of edibles were taken, and this happened on May 3rd at a location along Manchester Boulevard. Investigators are hoping someone might recognize the men in the video. This is the first known burglary at this dispensary.
The State Assembly has approved legislation that would allow community colleges to expel students who sexually assault their classmates, and it doesn't matter where the assault occurs. Currently, some colleges can only penalize students when a sexual assault is committed on campus. If it happens off campus, there's nothing they can do. The bill, which passed today, would also require transfer students to disclose if they have been suspended suspended for rape or sexual battery at other schools.
Isla Vista is preparing to mark the anniversary of the massacre that rocked the coastal community. For those who lost loved ones, it's a time to remember the painful past and also look to the future. Eyewitness News' Verna Miriam Hernandez spoke with the parents of 2 shooting victims today.
It's a long, hard slog.
I can't accept the way that my son died. We need to do better.
And he's talking about the whole nation doing better. Today in Isla Vista, Richard Martinez and Bob Weiss visit a newly dedicated Garden of Love and Remembrance. It memorializes the 6th slain a year ago, including Martinez's son Chris and Weiss's daughter Veronica. It is a nightmare that does not end.
Every 5 minutes there was a video playing in my head of the shooting occurring. Well, it's hard to concentrate on my life when every 5 minutes I can see my daughter being shot to death in my mind.
The victims were the random targets of Elliot Roger, a mentally ill loner who legally owned 3 guns. Martinez believes common ground can be found with a powerful gun lobby.
We can all agree that felons, domestic abusers, and the seriously mentally ill should not have guns. It's just common sense.
What also makes sense, curbing activity that puts students at risk. Here, WEISS takes a swipe at Isla Vista.
This town is a cesspool of drunkenness.
He points to raucous street parties that draw many who are not students, the tear gas to control them.
There's so many kids, it's such a party atmosphere, and there's so many liquor licenses, and there's so little enforcement here that kids can walk around the streets drunk.
The aim of these parents now, to work multiple fronts. By all means possible, spare other parents a lifetime of pain.
So I don't ever expect to be as happy as I was a year ago today. It's really a terrible thing.
Miriam Hernandez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The LAPD Hollenbeck Division has launched a new program to double the number of police officers on foot patrol. The Community Partners Program will add officers to 4 more corridors in the areas of Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights, and El Sereno. Officers will work the community to improve the quality of life in the neighborhoods.
And really, that's for us to take our community policing model to the next level. Relationship policing, where we meet with the community members, the businesses, the residents, and really try to work with them in a spirit of shared responsibility.
Authorities hope this will also help strengthen the trust between police and the community.
Protesters blocked the entrances to a terminal at the Port of Seattle today. Their target, a Royal Dutch Shell floating drill rig, which will be loaded at the terminal before heading to Alaska to begin offshore drilling. Protesters say they're concerned about the risk of an oil spill in the Arctic waters, as well as the impact of burning fossil fuels on the global climate. Alaskan officials have touted the economic benefits to the state from the drilling. The calendar, it may be May, but climatologists are already looking toward winter. Early signs are showing a strong possibility of wet conditions. The reasons for the optimism is due to the prediction of an El Nino pattern. The Californians have heard that before. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes shows us why this year things could be different.
The Golden State, these days looking more like the Molten State. The years-long drought wreaking havoc on California's water supply. But a small boy with a huge effect could help change that.
El Nino might be on the way.
Bill Patzert is a climatologist with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And El Nino, of course, is the warming of Pacific waters near the equator that tends to bring large amounts of rain to California. Patzert says the early signs point to a wet winter.
The National Weather Service is telling us 80 to 90%. This will be the real deal. It will be the great wet hope, and it will deliver a wet winter.
But weather experts across the country were predicting El Nino conditions for last winter. Patzert called for an El Wimpo, and 2014 went down as bone dry.
Last winter was the 4th punishing year in a row of drought. Almost no snowpack. It was definitely not El Nino, but El No-Show.
This year, however, Patzert says the signs are more encouraging. He admits it's still early to declare El Nino a given, but Patzert likes the odds, though he says even a solid El Nino won't solve California's water problems.
It's not a drought buster. It will take many years of above average rainfall and snowpack to get us out of the situation that we're in.
Now, Patzert says the best indicators of El Nino usually arrive around July or August, so don't place any bets just yet. He also adds that El Nino is a double-edged sword. If a true El Nino rolls in this winter, he says expect some serious damage to come with it as well. In La Cañada, Flint Ridge, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, a Texas couple welcomes a rare set of triplets.
Why the baby's births are even more of a medical miracle, their remarkable story, plus this.
A woman in East LA has raised her macaw for 28 years, and now someone's broken in, assaulted her, and stolen her beloved bird. I'm Rutabaga Shabazi in East LA with details and how you can help. Coming up.
Meteorologist Jonathan Novak here. Some clouds today, but no rain. But that could change. Details ahead. Your 7-day forecast.
An extraordinary delivery in Texas. A mother gives birth to rare identical triplets, two of which are conjoined at the pelvis. The girls, Catalina, Jamina, and Scarlett, were born Saturday night at 4 pounds 11 ounces each. The babies came just shy of 34 weeks and a few days ahead of schedule because their mother, Sylvia, went into labor. But all four are doing well.
God chose us for a reason, to take care of them. He sent us these little angels for a reason. So it's a big blessing for us.
The conjoined sisters were taken to another hospital for tests. Their father says that they will likely be separated within 6 months to a year.
The search is on for a missing macaw named Mickey. A woman says a thief hopped her fence in East Los Angeles and went straight for the bird in the cage. She and the bird tried to fight him off, but as Eyewitness News reporter Rudabeh Shabazi reports, Mickey was stolen.
Maria Chavez has spent the last 28 years with her beloved macaw, Mickey. They've been through a lot together, the bird even sitting at her bedside during her cancer treatment.
That bird is my baby.
Last week, she says a man broke in and went straight for Mickey's cage. Maria says she ran out and hit the burglar with a broomstick, but he pushed her onto the stairs, injuring her back. Her dog eventually coming between them, protecting Maria.
That dog saved me, but he can save the bird too.
She says the man threw Mickey against the wall, then picked him up and hopped the fence, jumping into a car where a driver was waiting.
They so part in my life, my heart. I had the bird all the time. He is really special.
Maria and her family say they believe the thieves were the same people responsible for stealing parrots in 2 separate incidents in Long Beach earlier this year, caught here on surveillance video. All 3 cases are being investigated by police.
The bird's going to die. I take when the money, I'm going to keep the money. Bring me by the bird. I'm not going to ask questions.
There is a $1,000 reward being offered for anyone who can help bring Mickey back. From East LA, Rudabeh Shabazi, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Oh, well, Maria's story came to us with the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness. If you have a story or a video or photos you would like to share with us, post them with the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness and join our circle of eyewitnesses.
Believe it or not, possible showers back in the 7-day, and Jonathan Novak has his complete forecast coming up next.
Plus, another dramatic crash at Indianapolis Motor Speedway sends a driver to the hospital for surgery.
Well, we have a terrible mess on the 210 freeway in Arcadia, a horrible accident. Let's go to Bill Thomas overhead in R7HD. Bill?
Yeah, this is wreaking havoc on the Foothill Freeway. An incredible crash here involving that big rig car carrier you see right in the middle of your screen. Then off to the right, another car that went up in flames. Looks like the big rig car carrier was traveling eastbound on the 210 at Santa Anita. Somehow loses control, crashes through the center divider, lands in the carpool lane on the 210 westbound. Here's another car involved. That one went up in flames. In fact, we have some amateur video to share with you right now. We encourage you to send us your video as long as you can shoot that video in a safe and legal manner. Take a look at that huge plume of black smoke off to your left. That's that car going up in flames, and this was quite a sight when everything was going up. The fire is out. Back to our live shot once again. Look at the freeway. Open up wide here. The whole freeway is shut down, all east and westbound lanes. 210 eastbound, all traffic is detoured off at Santa Anita right there in the middle of your screen. And look at that tremendous backup. 210 westbound, all traffic is being detoured now off at the Huntington Drive off-ramp, and that's back traffic up out toward the Irwindale area. For the remainder of the afternoon into the evening, go with Interstate 10 through the San Gabriel Valley. Steer clear of the Foothill Freeway. This is a long-term signaler. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Bill, thank you for that. And we have breaking news out of the Bay Area right now. That's where a large mountain lion was spotted in a residential neighborhood of San Mateo earlier today. Fish and Game Control officers were called in and the police locked down the neighborhood. The big cat was spotted in a tree. It was just tranquilized a few minutes ago. It will be checked out for injuries and illness, and if it's okay, it will be released back into the wild.
That looks like a big cat, all right. They're taking care of that. That's interesting. In the meantime, you know what's great? We have rain back in our forecast. Here's Jonathan.
It's unreal. We should have been doing this months ago. Everything's been flipped around, and we're talking rain again as we are making our way through May. Live Megadoppler 7000 HD. Check it out. Some showers and storms associated with the system that's pulling away from the area, but these storms are over by Vegas. Some shower activity there actually starting to die down, and some light rain, maybe even a little bit of light snow just south of Tahoe, and Mammoth had some of that a little bit earlier on. For us, dry. You know that. Things have been dry, and for the short term, we're going to stay that way, but we have a rain chance entering the forecast later on by the end of the work week, just in time to let the weekend stay in place nice and dry once again. Angeles National Forest, cool time lapse there, and I'll bring you up to the current image. I'm not sure what the... Oh, that was the current image. That was dark. Oh, we had some cloud cover right there over the camera. Okay, that's interesting. Downtown LA is clear, though. Just a few clouds out there, but we have partly to mostly cloudy skies today. It's going to be like that again tomorrow and Wednesday, and then cool down even more. So if you like the cooler weather we've been having, you're going to really love the end of the work week. 71 was our high today. Normally we're at 75. So we're going to get into the 60s for highs by Thursday and Friday with the next system rolling in. 64 right now in downtown and 65 at the coast. There's not really a huge spread there in terms of the temperatures from the inland spots to the coast. You see that right here on the temperatures currently. 65 Long Beach, but 64 Riverside, so really not much separating us in terms of that. Here's that system I made mention of, pulling away up to the east and northeast. To the northwest, we have another system that's going to be diving south as we go through into the Thursday, Friday time frame. In between systems, tomorrow, Wednesday, and a little bit on Thursday, we're just going to see status quo. Lower 70s, below average, and cloud cover in the morning especially, breaking up in the afternoon. Here's that low. This is going to be late Thursday and Friday. Chance of rain with this is in there. It's just not significant. It's about 20%. It looks like right now the bulk of that energy staying to the south of our area for the most part. But we could squeeze out a few showers. Something added into what we've had recently. 71 tomorrow in downtown LA, 66 Redondo Beach. The 7-day forecast has us right about there for 2 days. Even cooler Thursday, Friday. A couple of showers Friday. Look at the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, very nice. We're back into the mid-70s average Sunday and Monday. Good stuff there. Valley forecast, i.e. lower 70s for a couple of days. Again, below average with some clouds. Cool, even cooler Thursday, Friday. We'll ramp up the rain chance to 20%. Same for you at the beach. 63 only for a high Thursday, Friday. The mountains, more shower chances for you, 20% on Friday. Look at the high, only 47 on Friday. Not bad, but below average. And the high desert, you as well. So think same thing from today, basically, for Tuesday, Wednesday. Cooler, cloudy, and a little wet Thursday, Friday, mainly Friday. The weekend's looking great. I got you at 80 degrees in the high desert on Sunday. So a little mix of everything. A little bit of weather for everybody.
We love it. Keep the rain in there.
I'm working.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Lakers, Clippers, Kings, they're all done for the year. The Ducks still alive, though, and doing very well in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Anaheim nearly impossible to beat so far in the postseason. An impressive 9-1 in these playoffs, including a perfect 6-0 at the Honda Center. And after yesterday's 4-1 win over Chicago, the Ducks have a 1-0 series lead in the Western Conference Finals. The star of the game, goalie Frederik Andersen, he stopped 32 of 33 shots and made 16 saves in the first period. The Ducks got 2 goals from their third line of Nate Thompson, Andrew Gogliano, and Kyle Palmieri. The Ducks say Chicago wasn't at their best game in Game 1, but neither were they.
It's definitely good for the confidence, and obviously we know they weren't at their best, and we know we were not at our best, but to get Game 1 is big, and being at home and trying just getting our feet wet in the Western Conference Finals.
They played well. I mean, they did their things, and we're going to have a tough series against them the whole time. It's not going to be wide open. I think that we're going to be ready for Game 2, and we're going to be better.
Baseball now, the Angels north of the border to take on the Blue Jays. The Halos rallied from a 4-0 deficit. Game tied at 4 in the 6th inning. Johnny Giavotella with a base knock to center. Chris Iannetta scores to put them up 5-4, but the lead was short-lived. Bottom of the 6th, bases loaded for Russell Martin, and the former Dodgers singles home a pair of runs to give Toronto a 6-5 lead. 7th inning, Blue Jays up 8-5. Jose Bautista with some insurance runs, 2-run shot to left. Angels dropped their second straight, 10-6. Another day, another crash at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A suspected mechanical failure sent James Hinchcliffe's car into the wall on turn 3. The car caught on fire briefly, turned upside down before landing right side up on turn 4. Hinchcliffe was taken to the hospital where he had surgery on his left thigh. He's listed in stable condition. And the Western Conference Finals begins tomorrow night on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Coverage of the Game 1 between the Rockets and the Warriors begins at 6 o'clock.
And more news straight ahead here at 7:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Looking for the Fountain of Youth, a new way to reverse the aging process without injections or surgery. Plus, the 2 young women trying to become the new bachelorettes tell us why they would go through this emotional journey again. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
30 years after his death, the Cannes Film Festival is still buzzing about Orson Welles. One of the films being promoted there this year is the director's last picture, which was never finished or released. The Other Side of the Wind was supposed to be Welles' big comeback, a masterpiece to rival his classic Citizen Kane. But during filming in the 1970s, it was plagued with legal problems and spent decades collecting dust. Now producers have launched a crowdfunding campaign to finally get it in theaters this year.
If you consider yourself a morning person, this might be for you. Sunrise dance parties. This is already popular in Europe, and it's now taking off in the San Francisco club scene. Forget late nights and dark rooms. For these people, it's all about rise and shine and party. Two different groups are now hosting monthly early morning dance parties, often outdoors. One of them took place on a boat in San Francisco Bay. The party started at 6 a.m., and in case you're wondering, they are alcohol-free.
Drinking a lot of coffee out there.
Lots of caffeine.
Although, what you could really do is party all night long in the clubs and then just go right to the parties on the boat. And
it's cold outside in San Francisco in the morning, that's for sure.
Burn off some energy and head on home, shower up, get to work.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on KDOC TV. Law & Order SVU is coming up next on KDOC TV.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com. See you tomorrow night.